Guru tercinta, seronok belajar selama sentiasa, sekolahku sejahtera, kesihatan diutama.
Place learning outside classroom. The teachers bring students bahasa Melayu, sejarah, bahasa Inggeris, geografi.
Empati, bina kasih insani, teguh jati diri, adab, sopan hidup harmoni. Sekolahku sejahtera, sekolahku sejahtera, bangkitlah generasi pewaris negara. Sekolahku sejahtera, sekolahku sejahtera, gemilanglah Malaysia di mata dunia. Sejahtera.
Showcase day, showcase day for STEM.
Di sini bermula mengenal dunia bersama guru tercinta. Seronok belajar selama sentiasa, sekolahku sejahtera, kesihatan diutama.
Place learning outside classroom. The teachers bring students bahasa Melayu, sejarah, bahasa Inggeris, geografi.
Empati, bina kasih insani, teguh jati diri, adab, sopan hidup harmoni. Sekolahku sejahtera, sekolahku sejahtera, bangkitlah generasi pewaris negara. Sekolahku sejahtera, sekolahku sejahtera, gemilanglah Malaysia di mata dunia. Sejahtera.
Showcase day, showcase day for STEM, for all subjects. So here is about understanding by design, I said. So I like to see the student, they create this model, and then I want them to explain this model in English. So we integrate the science part, English part, Bahasa Melayu part. So all together, the important thing is they know how to deliver the words in English. They can say it in English.
Penuh kualiti, sekolahku sejahtera, sekolahku sejahtera, bangkitlah generasi pewaris negara.
Geopark, as you can see here, Geopark is a place where students, especially, they'll learn geography in English. You can see a few information about the environment. Okay, as you can see the plant, the tree. You can see a very smart, very clean place. Activity PAK 21, look, think and comment. So this is the example of activities. Student can refer to the picture, to the photo in doing their group activities. As you can see here, you can see this one, this part and also that part. We put all the banners, all the information. I talk to my teachers. Okay, I talk to my teachers during a bengkel about innovation and also about learning outside classroom. What we will do here is I want all my teachers to bring their student outside the classroom and walk around, read all the material in English, and I want them to explain. But that way, I hope that all the things that we display around the school, that the student can understand, and also they will appreciate for what we are doing. And a very critical problem now we are facing in the school is about bullying. So in the conjunction of the bullying campaign, we in SMD Coach Pada also take part to campaigns against the bullying. Everywhere when the students walk, they can read, and at the assembly, the teachers and also the principal will explain why we put all the bullying sticker all around the school.
Question to Mr. Arman, as a principal of SMK Kuala. In SIT, I'm proud KMY have an excellent principal and keep up the good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Ilmu berguna bertindak rasional, mantapkan artikulasi, ucap penuh kualiti. Sekolahku sejahtera, sekolahku sejahtera, bangkitlah generasi pewaris negara. Sekolahku sejahtera, sekolahku sejahtera, gemilanglah Malaysia di mata dunia.
HIP is immersive, right? So when we talk about immersive, we want a large group of students, right? So what are the activities that we can engage a large group of students, right? So here you mentioned lack of vocabulary. So if your students lack of vocabulary, definitely they lack of vocabulary. That's why they cannot participate effectively. So what do we do as teachers, as coordinators, HIP coordinators? What do we do to provide them with the vocabulary? So we equip our school physically with a lot of vocabulary. We provide vocabulary lists to our students, and it does not stop there. So after you've given, and you see, and in your school, some of your schools are so beautiful with a lot of vocabulary. So what do they do with that vocabulary? So they write sentences. They make sentences, verbal sentences, written sentences on that vocabulary. So they learn how to use that vocabulary or apply that vocabulary in their daily conversations. So one, if you say you lack vocabulary, you need to help to provide that vocabulary and apply that vocabulary in their daily conversations. Right? So if you're, for instance, you are targeting a set of vocabulary for family, so then you have activities, English language activities, that students can use this vocabulary that they learn about the family and continuously use it for activities. And then you can have like hopscotch, you can play games with that vocabulary, you can have, spin the wheel, right? So there are a lot of activities that you can do focusing on vocabulary. And that is your HIP out of class. Yes, Leila? Okay, so in that case, let me just share if I can. I sent to your email, Leila, just now. Okay. Okay, I'm sharing, Leila. Can everyone see? Can you all see it?
Yes.
Can I? Okay, so this is just an overview of the slide, all right? An overview of how HIP came into place, and it supports the 5 shifts. I think all of you are familiar with the 5 shifts, right? So it supports the 5 shifts, and this is under the policy, all right? The MBI policy. So what are our objectives? I have this in Bahasa because I was made to understand that the session will be in Bahasa. So I do have it in English, but I will need to look for it. So 3 main objectives: to develop an environment that is highly immersive, or that is, an immersive environment in school through the activity. So just now, going back to what I shared you, and one of it is the lack of vocabulary. So how will you create an immersive environment in your school, leveraging or focusing on the vocabulary? So you will do activities that students can use this vocabulary, that it becomes practical in their daily life, and that they can from that vocabulary, they can turn it into more interesting activities. So just now I gave some examples like hopscotch, spin the wheel, and then, writing, sentences on a white sheet. You call that poster sheets, right? So these are all HIP out of class activities that you can do in your school premise. Yeah. Okay. An opportunity the student was the school language. So that actually the SJKC schools, SJKC schools, you have reading sessions early morning, a good example on using English and to involve students. Yeah. So that slowly they move away from being shy, because you mentioned here one of the issue is that students are shy. Definitely, we are all shy to use the language if we are not comfortable with the language, correct? So we must slowly get exposed to the language for us to overcome that shyness. And how do you expose them? You have a physical environment, and you also have a daily environment that promotes the use of English, and eventually the students won't become shy of using English. But if it's just once in a week they use English, or once in a day they use English, of course we will continue to be shy because we're not comfortable using the language. So if you really practice HIP in the school, then you have to create these form of activities that move students away from feeling shy and that develops their confidence to use English. All right? Okay, the third issue here is influence of mother tongue. Definitely, because we are not native speakers, we are all L2 speakers, right? So how do we want to improve our students' usage of English and avoid influence of mother tongue? So we increase their usage by having more activities. And if they respond, one example I will say is if they respond in English, right? If they respond in English, if they respond in Bahasa, if they respond in Tamil, and if they respond in Mandarin or in Cantonese or Hokkien, what do we do as teachers? Do we stop them? No, we don't stop them. But we reiterate or we respond in English. So if they tell you something in Bahasa, you say yes and you give the correct sentence or the correct word or the correct understanding in English, right? So that's one way. So we can have dual language actually in the school. So you have boards with the English as well as the Bahasa understanding, so that the interference or the influence of mother tongue doesn't really affect. But if it happens, do not worry, right? Because definitely we are all L2 speakers, so there will be influence of mother tongue, and it helps actually because you know that the student understands, but the student lacks the vocabulary in English. So we provide them with activities that will help them understand the words or the language in English. Right. And the fourth one is on readiness. Okay. We are already in the 6th year of implementation. HIP is now 6 years. All right. So how do we, or when is the right time to be ready? Okay. Any answers? When is the right time to be ready? Somebody has mentioned here readiness. Okay. Every day the student is ready. It goes back to us as the coordinators, as the school head. How ready are our students? Okay. What are we doing to help our students be ready to use English? Are we providing them with a rich environment? Are we providing them with various activities that help them to be ready? So again, these are a few points here under pelibatan murid or pupils involvement that you would need to consider, and I have given you some examples or some ideas for you to think and come up with activities to address these issues, yeah, of vocabulary, shy, feeling shy, mother tongue influence, as well as readiness. Okay, so I just like to share the target for this year. All right, sasaran HIP for 2022 is 75% of our 10,000 schools are at immersive level 3 and above. And for 2021, yes, we made it, even though during the pandemic and the MCO, 72% of our schools have achieved immersive level 3. And why they were able to do so was because they had various language activities run online. So one good thing about this online is that we can reach out to more students, and more students can. That now the younger generation of children, they like technology. So with technology, with TikTok, Instagram, FB, like what we are having exactly now, students are more interested to use English, right? So think about that as well, ladies and gentlemen, how you can use technology for your language activities, okay? So just now, you want more involvement, you have activities like this, animated storytelling, videos, or talking, just not video, but you must have language use based on the video the person has created. Yeah, so you can have these kind of things. All right, moving on. So this is the achievement for 2021. All right, immersive level 4, that was the highest actually for all the years. 1,366 schools are at level 4, and 7,541 schools are at level 3. So it's a huge number. So kudos to all of you. I'm sure that among here in KMY, Kuala Muda, many of you are at level 3 as well. And for your friends who are at level 1 and 2, for the schools who are at level 1 and 2, work a little bit harder, have collaboration with the schools from level 3 and level 4, get some ideas on how you can have HIP activities that would promote the use of English and that you can move up your scale to level 3 and 4. Okay, right, I'll stop sharing now. Okay, I'll stop sharing and I'll go back to my slide. Okay, just give me a short while to share, and then I will open for Q&A. So if you have any questions, you can either put it in the chat box. Puan Leila and Mr. William will collate the questions for me, or later I will give some time to all of you, and you can, I will open the floor for you to share your questions, and hopefully I can answer all of them as well. All right, so moving on to the second issue. All right, the second issue is on parent support. Okay, now that is definitely a challenge, but we need to understand how we can involve, ladies and gentlemen. We must understand who our parents are, right? So HIP is not asking the parents to do English language activities, but HIP is all about getting the support from the parents. So when we say getting the support from the parents, if the parents can be motivated to encourage their students to use English, that is more than enough, because sometimes we know that the parents cannot speak English. So how can you ask them to run HIP activities in English, right? But they can support. How they can support? They can come for your activities. They can provide some form of support. Maybe, if you're doing a talent show, maybe the costumes. They can help you with the costumes. Maybe they can do some reading activities for the children if they are good in reading in English. Maybe they can do some carpentry work, maybe the fathers for you. So it doesn't mean that they need to use the language, right, parents? So find out how the parents can help you with HIP. What kind of support can they provide? A simple support as ferrying the students, taking the students is also considered a HIP activity because the parents are helping taking the students for an English language activity. Yeah. Okay. So parent support is, you need to, and for the guru besar PGBs yang berada pada petang ini, saya mohon kerjasama tuan-tuan dan puan-puan untuk maklumkan program HIP ini. Walaupun dalam tahun ke-6, pada setiap tahun permulaan sekolah atau permulaan, kita maklumkan kepada semua ibu bapa yang kami menjalankan aktiviti atau kami menjalankan program highly immersive dan mohon kerjasama ibu bapa untuk membantu dalam program ini semana yang boleh atau pada keupayaan mereka. So we can, jadi kita maklumkan sahaja dalam bentuk surat atau dalam bentuk pembentangan atau just dalam bentuk ucapan semasa sesi PIBG, ini akan membantu. Okay, pada permulaan program kita telah adakan banting dengan banner di setiap sekolah menyatakan sekolah ini adalah sekolah HIP dan supaya warga ibu bapa yang datang atau komuniti yang datang dapat lihat yang sekolah ini menjalankan program HIP dan mungkin mereka boleh bantu dalam apa-apa bentuk. So saya mohonlah semula, walaupun kami dah lama dalam program ini, mungkin sekolah sekiranya mendapati tak ada kerjasama yang kukuh atau kurangnya kerjasama daripada pihak ibu bapa atau kurangnya pengetahuan mengenai HIP daripada kalangan ibu bapa, kemungkinan besar kita boleh wujudkan satu sesi atau adakan satu carikan satu slot untuk beritahu ibu bapa berkaitan dengan program ini. Ya, so itu untuk tindakan atau usaha PGB lah, tuan guru besar atau tuan dan puan guru besar yang menjadi penggerak untuk program ini. Ya. Okay, the third aspect that I'd like to talk about is many of you mentioned cooperation from the non-English language teachers, right? So this one, I will go back to my slide. Saya mohon untuk berkongsi slide juga. Just a moment. Can. Just let me share this and then we will stop and give them time to ask questions, yeah? All right, thank you. Okay, so this is the, yang ini adalah berkaitan dengan tugas atau fungsi atau peranan pemimpin. Pemimpin iaitu PGB lah, pengetua guru besar. So apakah peranan tuan atau puan guru besar dalam usaha mendapatkan sokongan daripada guru-guru bukan bahasa Inggeris? Seperti mana yang kita sedia maklum, HIP adalah whole school approach atau berkonsepkan satu sekolah, dan bukannya HIP bukannya satu aktiviti atau program di bawah panitia bahasa Inggeris. Saya nak tekankan mengenai aspek ini ya. HIP bukannya aktiviti panitia bahasa Inggeris. Okay, so ia adalah satu aktiviti satu sekolah. That means whole school approach, seluruh sekolah. Dan penggerak utama adalah pemimpin. So bagaimana seseorang pemimpin ini dapat mendapatkan sokongan guru-guru bukan bahasa Inggeris. So ini adalah daripada kerjasama lah yang dari kerjasama daripada guru-guru di atas permohonan Tuan Guru Besar atau Puan Guru Besar untuk membantu dalam program HIP. So that is the role of the school head. Alright? So dan pemimpin sekolah adalah penetap hala tuju. So segala aktiviti yang ingin dianjurkan di bawah HIP harus diketahui oleh pemimpin. So this is where the coordinator, alright, penyelaras HIP harus bekerjasama atau patut memberitahu kepada Tuan Guru Besar, PGB atau Puan Guru Besar berkaitan dengan aktiviti-aktiviti HIP yang dirancangkan untuk sepanjang tahun. Dan kita akan Guru Besar akan membuat satu kepastian atau will make a decision on the activities and when the activities can take place. Alright? Dan sebagai pemimpin sekolah, peranan pemimpin sekolah adalah sebagai pemantau, right? To observe and monitor the language activities that take place, HIP activities that take place, and penggalak juga, sebagai penggalak untuk memberi motivasi. Right? So bila kita ada isu atau cabaran berkaitan dengan kerjasama daripada guru-guru bukan bahasa Inggeris, yang ini penyelaras mungkin tidak berdaya untuk mendapatkan sokongan, tapi pihak pengurusan sekolah, khususnya pemimpin sekolah, dapat mengatasi masalah ini dengan mendapatkan sokongan daripada guru-guru. Okay. Okay, so I'll stop now for a while. I've addressed issue number 1, issue number 2, and issue number 3. Okay, so is there any questions? Wan Laila, you mentioned somebody wanted to ask a question.
Cikgu
Minta maaf, tersilap tekan. Minta maaf.
Ya, memang logik sebab seperti mana yang kami telah cadangkan pada awal permulaan program ini, dan seperti mana yang saya sebut tadi, ia merupakan satu whole school approach, satu sekolah, program satu sekolah. Jadi penyelaras tidak semestinya guru bahasa Inggeris. Puan boleh jadi penyelaras walaupun mengajar matematik. Mungkin panitia bahasa Inggeris atau seboleh-bolehnya panitia bahasa Inggeris akan membantu anda sebagai penyelaras sekiranya ada keperluan untuk menjalankan aktiviti dalam bahasa Inggeris, because seperti mana kita semua sedia maklum, kepakaran bahasa Inggeris tu ada dengan kita guru-guru bahasa Inggeris. Itulah bidang kita, right? English language teachers. So penyelaras, you coordinate, right? As a coordinator, you coordinate, you make the arrangements. It's not that you come up with the language activities, but if you need, advice on language, contohnya sebagai penyelaras, you kena sediakan satu ucapan untuk guru besar dalam bahasa Inggeris, dan you tak ada kebolehan tersebut, maybe, atau you ada tapi you're not very sure with the language. This is where you will go to your panitia bahasa Inggeris or your panel and ask for help. Can you just check my language here, right? I'm not really sure. Is it possible for you to check, right? So you can take the role of guru penyelaras HIP, no problem, yeah. No, because that's why I said I won't talk on funds, I won't talk on budget, because if you remember in 2016 when we came up with the program and we sent out the toolkit to all the schools, it's zero funding. So the activities that we create in the school, we have given suggestions. If you look into your toolkit, I don't know, some of you still have the toolkit or not, it is all to be done collaboratively without much funding, ya. But if you have, contohnya sekolah ini contohnya lah di Sungai Petani dan ada beberapa syarikat di sana, okay, atau factory kilang yang dapat membantu dalam program sebagai rakan gerak jangka, right, and they want to support you, right, then you can use this funding for your program, for your English language program, ya. But you must make sure lah, because dia bentuk CSR, dan nanti jangan dia datang ke sekolah dan minta cop untuk tax exemption. Right? So this is something, and sometimes kita boleh cari, contohnya ada beberapa PPD yang telah berkongsi dengan saya yang adun di PPD tersebut, di daerah tersebut nak sumbangkan newspaper. Alright, so this is something also that you can use. So newspaper tu, you get free newspaper, from that newspaper gunakan untuk aktiviti bahasa Inggeris. Okay. Menggunakan peruntukan PCG panitia selain dari panitia bahasa, contohnya panitia geografi, sejarah untuk boleh actually, because if you, for example, okay, I give an example, bulan Ogos ni bulan kemerdekaan, correct? So a lot of schools, even kita peringkat KPM, we also will have activities for bulan kemerdekaan. So contohnya di ELTC ni kami akan adakan dalam bahasa Inggeris. Alright, so if in school, contohnya di sekolah, you have panitia sejarah, alright, and maybe other panitias yang ada sedikit sebanyak, and you want to do an activity like you want to do, photo booth, or Merdeka, something about Merdeka celebration, and using the language. Apart from using the language, you want to buy some things for that activity. You can use, because it is still activity panitia. Yeah. All right. Okay, so sesi kedua is actually point number 4, Puan Leila, right? Support from the school. So I have discussed on cooperation from non-English language teachers, and we know that this cooperation from non-English language teachers is normally based on the, I won't say punca kuasa, but it's normally based on the guru besar's intervention. So if the guru besar dalam mesyuarat memohon untuk kerjasama, then I'm sure the teachers will give their support. So this comes back to the top management and the guru besar. The same thing, support from the school, right? So HIP, again, I will mention or reiterate that it is not a panitia bahasa Inggeris program, it's a whole school. So the whole school needs to support from the Guru Besar as well as all the GPKs, together with the group of teachers and the staff sokongan. Right? So everybody is involved with HIP. Right? So the lack of sustainability, isu pertama yang ditulis di sini adalah lack of sustainability. Okay, that is very true. So that's why if it's only one teacher, for example, teacher A, for 4 years, teacher A only does these activities. All the other teachers doesn't know what teacher A is doing. Teacher A seorang yang buat. Alright, for all the students. Now, teacher A pada tahun 2023 dapat pindah ke sekolah lain. Okay, dia mohon pindah, dia dapat pindah. What happens to the school? So dari level 3 drop sampai level 2. Level 4 drop sampai level 2. Ada sekolah macam tu. Pada satu ketika guru besar dengan penyelaras mainkan peranan begitu penting, sekolah di peringkat yang tinggi, tiba-tiba guru besar dipindahkan, bukan dipindahkan lah, dapat promotion atau transfer, guru penyelaras transfer, semua yang lain tak tahu berkaitan dengan HIP activities, so tak menjalankan HIP activities, and that's what happens. So sustainability penting. That's why dari awal lagi kita perlukan kerjasama satu pasukan. So satu komiti. So let me just show you this slide as well. Daripada I'm just sharing. You should show me the slide. Okay, I'm going to zoom to this. Okay, can everyone see this? Boleh nampak? Tak nampak? Okay, that'd be great. Yeah. Can you all see? Okay. Yeah, but I can't be seen, so can I close it? Okay. So apa yang saya nak beritahu ini adalah perancangan yang baik, perancangan yang rapi supaya semua warga sekolah tahu mengenai aktiviti-aktiviti HIP sepanjang tahun. Dan untuk perkara ini kita adakan satu carta organisasi dengan satu perancangan strategi. Bukan satu perancangan yang begitu detail tapi berbentuk takwim lah, yang berapa banyak aktiviti kita akan anjurkan sepanjang tahun supaya aktiviti ini dapat dilaksanakan dengan efektif dan dapat dilaksanakan berkala. Alright? Ya, supaya tak perlu banyak aktiviti memadai, tapi mestilah berkala supaya kita dapat lihat the student outcome.
Give me a few minutes.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Can. Okay, can everyone see? Is it visible?
Yes.
Can, Okay, so this is what I mentioned. Okay, so we have a carta organisasi, very simple, and you see penaung is the guru besar, PK pentadbiran, PK HAM, dan PK co-curriculum. So then you have this panitia. So here bukan saja 4, but I just put here 4 or 5, tapi semua panitia. So you can put each panitia here and one representative. Or the whole panitia, you don't want to mention the names pun boleh. Tapi semua panitia terlibat dalam pembinaan atau pewujudan aktiviti-aktiviti HIP. Alright, so this will help you to prepare the plan of activities for the year. So that will support your sustainability. So even if you leave, like I mentioned, if the school head leaves or you as the coordinator, you get a promotion or you are going off for your studies or you're leaving the school it's very clear. Right? It's very clear because the structure is already in place. The activities are already in place. So you can just continue. Doesn't matter 3 years or so, the same type of activity, doesn't matter. As long the students are enjoying the activity, as long as the students are, producing, they are, they participate and they are gaining knowledge, they are also using the language well, then you know this activity is doing well and you can continue for the following year. So this is very important for most of the schools. When you want to talk about sustainability, you have to think about an activity that engages a majority of students, that engages the school, right? The other non-English teachers, and that it works well for the students. There is positive outcome for the students, right? So this is one way of ensuring sustainability. The second is the school head does not really know the whole school approach, right? Somebody mentioned this as well. The anchor does not really know. How can the anchor doesn't know? Because you see here, yang paling di atas ni guru besar. Memanglah guru besar tidak akan menjalankan aktiviti, tapi dia memantau, dia menggalak, dia tahu berkaitan dengan program, right? So guru besar is right on the top here, and the anchor, in English we say HIP anchor, the GP must know about whole school approach. And if he is not available or she is not available, these are the people, right? Dan antara ketiga-tiga ni, among the three here, the co-curriculum PK is the most important person for HIP. Why I say that? Because in the beginning, when we started off HIP, we mentioned that actually the penyelaras is the PK co-curriculum. Because the co-academic and the co-curriculum activities is under the curriculum of senior assistant. So he or she will know what type of activities are coming to the end daripada PPD. It will be minuted, akan diminitkan kepada PK Koko untuk menjalankan aktiviti-aktiviti ni. Dan kemungkinan dari aktiviti-aktiviti ini, beberapa aktiviti ini boleh dijadikan activity HIP if it involves English, like national debate, state debate competition, right? State storytelling competitions. All this comes under the curriculum. Tetapi yang sedihnya dalam pelaporan HIP, ramai di kalangan penyelaras tidak they did not work together with the co-curriculum person, the PK co-curriculum, and they didn't know that these students took part dan tidak dicatatkan dalam atau tidak dilaporkan dalam HIP, pelaporan HIP. So that is where, in the absence of the guru besar, the PK Koko, the PK Ham, and the PK Pentadbiran also plays an important role in HIP. Yeah, so it's panitia playing a role as well. Okay? Clear? Right. The next aspect under support from school. So we are on the fourth aspect, support from school. The administrators are not well equipped with the knowledge of HIP implementation. And so just now I mentioned that. So everyone, administrators, going back to our slide. Right, where's our slide? Going back to our slide, all these three people play an important role. Okay, right. The next, I would say, is on resources. Okay, so how do we get materials? Now, materials we have given you under the toolkit. In the toolkit, and we have proposed materials, sharing of materials from different schools. If you want to have an idea of the materials, you can browse our website. Okay, so I'm going to give you in the chat box ELTC's website, and you will go to HIP. Under initiatives, you go to HIP. All right. Okay. and we have a lot of resources out there. All right, we have placed it there for you to use if you need materials or resources. Yeah, okay. Right, and the next issue or challenge is that many activities and programs are run simultaneously. So how do I overcome this, or it increases the workload? Yeah. So going back to the planning, the strategic planning. So of course we have other activities. Sometimes work smart and use those other activities as HIP, meaning you report not only for that activity, but you also report it for HIP. Okay, all right. One example, every year we have Nilam, correct? Right. So under Nilam, you have the choice of the student taking part for English or Bahasa. They read either in Bahasa or in English, and they do a book review. Now, if you want that same Nilam activity to be also your HIP activity, then a group of students, you have one big group of students doing in Bahasa, you also have another group of students doing it in English, and that becomes a HIP activity. So two things you have done with one. Get what I mean? You have reported under Nilam, you have also reported under HIP. So both activities are acceptable, right? Okay, same thing. If you have, say it's a storytelling competition, right? So you are going to take part in a storytelling competition by KL Shakespeare players, all right? They hosted thing. And this is co-curriculum or co-academic, and it's nothing about HIP. They didn't mention HIP, but you took part in it, and the students took part in English. Now, the same activity can also be reported as a HIP activity. Okay? Right. So then you don't get overloaded with work because you are doing two in one, or rather you're killing two birds with one stone. Okay, right. There's a question here, Madam Sheila. What will happen to the existing HIP supervisor, not supervisor, coordinator, when the post is taken over by PK Koko? Right. It doesn't need to be taken over. Now it's just your decision at the school level. Budi bicara your guru besar, budi bicara guru besar. If the PK Koko can take on, then the PK Koko can take. You who's going to give it to the PK Koko, of course, don't just wash your hands. Sorry the word, but don't just wash your hands. You support the co-curriculum person, the PK Koko, with your whatever you've been doing for the past 1 or 2 years as the penyelaras, right? So this is optional, right? It's not a must. It's not in any of our pekeliling, but this is back to the school. The decision is made by the school head who he or she would like to be the penyelaras HIP, right? So there are a few options here that I've given you. So maybe just now in one instance, the mathematics teacher, she became the penyelaras HIP, perhaps because of her ways, her nature. She's able to get the cooperation from all other teachers. She's helpful. She's she's IT savvy maybe. So sometimes we see all these criteria that we want that this person is able to handle the job of a penyelaras. So it goes back to the school to make that decision. So I can just suggest here. All right. So okay. That's why I said there is no black and white as who should be, and yeah. So if it's the English teacher, it doesn't need necessarily to be the KP. But of course, as the coordinator, you need a lot of support. So normally we choose somebody that has. I'm not putting down young teachers. You are capable, especially you are more IT savvy than the older ones. But again, it needs some experience. It needs some ability to coordinate, right? So it can be any teacher. As far as I'm concerned, it can be any English language teacher. There's no hard and fast rule about this. But think about the person who is capable to handle the job. I mean, the role as a penyelaras, as a coordinator, is able to get the HIP activities going for the year. That's most important. I don't have the data analysis for that, but I do have data showing that the rural schools in Malaysia have improved their level of immersiveness. That data I have because every year the 10,000 schools report. From that 10,000 schools, I can actually filter which are the urban schools and which are the rural schools, right? So we know that there are schools, the rural schools, that are doing very well. And from my personal experience, I have gone down. In this 5 years, I have roughly covered about 90 schools. From year to year, I go to every state and I visit some schools. So in the schools that I visited, for example, I went all the way to Sabah and into the rural areas to Bau, in Sarawak. I went in to, the Kundasang area. All these areas I have gone, even deeper, and I've taken a boat into the rural areas as well. And to my surprise, HIP is being implemented in these schools, right? Of course, the challenge will be the students find it difficult because the environment is such. They don't have an English environment. The school is the only English environment, but they are doing well thanks to the effort of the teachers. So there are schools, the rural school, who are doing well in the program. So it goes back to the type of activity, also our part as teachers, our effort in ensuring that they participate. Yes, it is a HIP out of class activity and it has taken place since 2016. Assembly in English is an out of class activity, yeah. So when we talk about assembly in English, you can have various activities during the assembly in English, but do not translate the national anthem to English, yeah. So we continue with the normal assembly where we sing the national anthem in our national language. We have, the state anthem being sung, all right, the school anthem, and then we can actually have a speech by the Guru Besar, the PGB in English, or by the school head. We can actually have the recitation of the Doa in English, which has also taken place. And we can have a few activities that involve the students, yeah, the majority. And so for some of the schools, they did Kahoot during the assembly. They take 10 to 5 minutes and they ask 10 to 15 questions, and anyone can raise their hands and answer. So there were activities like this. Sometimes there's presentation, choral speaking presentation, public speaking, storytelling. So you can have activities of such, yeah. Yeah, poem recitation, somebody mentioned here. Yes, you can have all this during assembly in English. So preferably the whole structure of the assembly, right, except for what I mentioned just now, will be done in English. So the teacher in charge of the week, right, the notices, what do you say? Yeah, the notices, right? The notices, announcements can also be in English. Do I answer that? We can't hear you, Leila. We're losing you. Yeah, thank you. Okay, right. So the last two is actually I've already covered that as well, right? Time. Just now I mentioned about the time, and HIP is a burden. HIP is a burden as teachers need time out of their timetable to get things done. No, you don't really need time out of your timetable. I mean, yeah, you can't be using your lesson time to do HIP activities. Of course, within that school time, 7 hours or 8 hours in the school, yeah, you may want to discuss with your colleagues and you have something planned for HIP. Yeah. So always think that whatever you are doing is for the students. The very fact you are teachers, that you have chosen to be teachers, are to teach your students, correct? So doing activities for your students shouldn't be thought as a burdensome thing. Okay, so time, it goes back to your time management and how you manage your time. And definitely, no man is an island, right? So you cannot do it alone. You need a team. That's why it's a whole school approach. So if you have 5 hands helping you, within 20 minutes, you can settle the activity. If you have one hand, maybe you will need 20 hours to settle the matter, to settle the activity. So you need to think about that. All right. And finally, the last one, who is the person in charge? Personnel in charge. Yeah, so I think I've covered this as well. So all in all, ladies and gentlemen, I've covered the 7 issues that you have raised. Okay, saya telah bincang atau beri pencerahan tentang 7 isu dan cabaran yang telah dibentangkan, yang telah diberikan kepada saya, dan saya harap perkongsian saya pada petang ini dapat memberi manfaat kepada semua yang terlibat untuk terus usahakan program HIP ini, ya, to continue your hard work and your effort in making HIP a success for your students. All right. Thank you, Leila. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. try to reach out to Rotary Club, Lions Club, USN, okay, see how they can help you. Factories, all right, in Kulim. Okay, you can also have collaboration with factories in Kulim as an outreach partners. Of course, they cannot do English language activities for you, but they can help you to do some sessions, maybe, you know, mock sessions of meetings. They can also help you, Intel probably can help you with providing you with some digital resources. Yeah, so they have outreach partner. Okay, I also have Maxis, right? And so if you need help with Maxis, right? Maxis offers, I'll put here in the chat box, e-class Maxis. So you can encourage your students to participate as out-of-class activity with e-class Maxis and, e-class Maxis. Then you have Story Fest HIP e-class Maxis. You can take part as well. Okay, and also I would like to share that there is one special library by or what they call it as reading corner, library or reading corner, especially by the US Embassy for Negeri Kedah, all right, for Kedah. And if you can collaborate, you can actually make arrangements for the people from this reading corner under the US Embassy to have activities for your school. They will come and do activities for your school or for your students, yeah? So this is another somebody put here, is Rotary Club under Illuminati? I don't quite understand. What do you mean by Illuminati? Okay. Yes. Yeah. And if you find, sorry, Leila, just add on that. Yeah, if she finds that the activity is workable, it's gaining the interest of the students are progressing in that particular activity, she can extend that activity to different classes or different levels of students. Like maybe she started off with Form 1 and then she can extend to Form 2 and Form 3 and Form 4. Yes. It's called self-assessment tool, right? Yeah, so the self-assessment tool is for the for schools is for the 4 group. So one particular tool for your school head, he or she has to fill it up. Then you have one particular tool for 10% of your teachers, right? 10% of your teachers. It's not English language teachers, but all teachers. So the English language teacher can be included as well. So 10% of your group of teachers and 10% of your total population of students. Yeah. And when you do that, that's why nowadays, because of the digital, you don't have to print the forms. In 2016, 2017, we used to print the forms, you know, and manually, and the teacher, the penyelaras has to calculate. But now after post 2018, 2019, and with the pandemic, it's all formulated. It's in this, just now I showed you the portal website. Go to the portal website, download a copy, then you individualize it according to your school, so that you can do it simultaneously. When you give to the child, you ask the parent of that child to fill up for you as well. So you have two forms there. Yeah. So that is very important. It's not late if you haven't done it, because you're reporting. Yeah, going back to my slide just now, I think I'll share, Puan Laila, that slide with you, so you can share with everyone, yeah? The whole deck of slide. I have the English version. I'll pass to you the English version. Well, yeah. Yeah, there's no funding. There's no funding. We cannot send any funding. We don't have the funding. Yeah. So yeah. So whatever that you have, you would have to leverage on that and have activities. And if you really need funding, then you would need to have, you know, this is where the intervention of the school head, peranan guru besar untuk memohon kerjasama daripada pihak PIBG maybe to give you some money for the activity. So that's why think of activities that really doesn't need funding. I know that many of you say students take part and they are looking forward for gifts, right? Hadiah, right? Cendera hati hadiah. And that's where you need money to buy the gifts and hadiah. So this is where the peranan ibu bapa and community also comes in. If you can have a good, a good relationship, or I mean, you have some networking with the community, and the community, they can give you some gifts, you know, like hampers, derma, sumbangan, all right, sumbangan, hampers, books for the children, right? Yeah, don't take money. It's not, money should not be the hadiah, but things like this, you know, where they can contribute to the school. This is okay as funding. Yeah, I know that is most of you all mentioned that, like the teachers said they cannot afford always to buy gifts, right? Yeah, it's not fair for you to buy gifts as well for your students, but this is how we can see. So guru besar yang berada pada petang ini mungkin boleh usahakan nak bagaimana kita dapat sumbangan-sumbangan yang boleh diberikan kepada murid yang berjaya dalam aktiviti-aktiviti HIP. Ya. Yeah, I saw that question. Yes, that's considered outreach as well. We can. We have not done any collaboration. Normally, the empowerment is because you are from KMY, Kuala Muda. So it will be, I mean, to come to KL and we can have the collaboration with the schools in KL is not this one. But you probably have under bahagian swasta, JPN Kedah, you and Puan Laila, maybe you can assist in finding out what are the nearest international schools there in Sungai Petani, or you know, the furthest maybe Alosta, then you can have collaboration with them. Yeah, and if you need help on how to go about it from bahagian swasta, you can, Puan Laila, you can contact me. So I will give you the officer from bahagian swasta who's also part of our HIP Induk team, and then we can have, yes, we have had for Johor, just to share with you, we have had exchange program, but it's not for the students. We had it for the teachers. The teachers from the government schools, from the schools like y'all, went to the international school and saw how the teaching took place, and it was under HIP activity. Yeah, so we can. Leila, do inform me about that as well, so I can report on. Yeah, I can report on behalf that this activity was done, because some of the activities that you all do, we don't know, and then it's a waste. It's a waste because we don't inform to KPM about these kind of good activities, HIP activities. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone. All the best. Yeah. Are we taking a group photo? Okay. Okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Mansur Muhammad, Guru Besar SK Seri Gedong. Berkenaan dengan HIP ini, pihak sekolah kami telah bergerak sedikit sebanyak dalam 3 tahun yang lalu, dan pada saya HIP ini sangat penting untuk semua warga sekolah mengetahui dan menghayati matlamat HIP ini daripada semua lapisan, guru, warga sekolah dan juga komuniti setempat. Jadi bagi pihak kami, kami telah yang pertamanya 2 tahun berturut-turut kami telah membuat kolaborasi bersama 6 buah sekolah di sekitar ini bagi memulakan program HIP. Dan kefahaman saya di sekolah ni, yang tujuan saya yang pertama sekali di sekolah ni ialah mewujudkan kefahaman pada setiap guru. HIP ini bukan untuk bahasa Inggeris saja, dan meletakkan bahawa setiap panitia dan setiap mesyuarat meletakkan satu agenda sebagai satu agenda HIP dalam setiap panitia, dan semuanya saya pastikan mengambil bahagian dalam program HIP di sekolah. Semoga program ini berjaya, khususnya di sekolah saya, untuk menaikkan sedikit pengetahuan murid dalam bahasa Inggeris dan komuniti setempat, supaya mereka dapat menyahut cabaran untuk masa depan mereka dengan penggunaan bahasa Inggeris.
Eksplorasi ilmu berguna, bertindak rasional, mantapkan artikulasi, ujar penuh kualiti. Sekolahku sejahtera, sekolahku sejahtera, bangkitlah generasi pewaris negara. Sekolahku sejahtera, sekolahku sejahtera, gemilanglah Malaysia di mata dunia. Sejahtera, sekolahku sejahtera, ayo kita jagakan bersama. Sejahtera, sejahtera, sekolahku sejahtera, ayo kita jagakan bersama. Sejahtera, sejahtera, sekolahku sejahtera. Di sini bermula mengenal dunia, bersama guru tercinta. Seronok belajar selama sentiasa, sekolahku sejahtera. Kesehatan diutama, kebersihan dijaga, sama perkasa etika.
Yes, I saw it. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Pensyarah. Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you, everyone. All the best.
Thank you so much.
Keep the hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to sleep.
I'm still in school.
I feel sleepy. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Kak Izu.
Hi dear, I'm still in school. Hi Aiza. Hi Tani.
I'm still in school too.
Yeah.
Hi, Kak Aiza. How are you?